Hello, YouTube friends. Last week I did an Instagram live about the spooky stories that have gone on in all of our renovations. I would say that of all the questions we get about the renovation and about Louise specifically, probably the third most popular is she haunted? So I thought I would come on and give you guys some of the spooky stories we've had over the years in all the different renovations that we've done. Now, you'll notice that my story partner, Kevin, is not here with me. That is because he does not believe in spooky stories. I don't know why. He's el stupido as far as I'm concerned, because look, if you're gonna be a person who believes in one half of the supernatural, you gotta believe in the whole of the supernatural. But that's just me. So the stories I'm gonna tell you are actual things that I have experienced. They're not embellished in any way. They're just the things that I've lived through during our renovations and restorations in these houses. And they started super early on. They started it as early as we started renovating homes. Now, you know, down here in the South, we special kind of crazy, and we got the woobity going on down here. And so we got a lot of activity happening in these old homes. And I put up an Instagram post today that just talked about how I really think that all the people who live in homes and die in homes and who have experiences in these homes really do leave a mark of some kind. And I don't know what that is. I don't know what these things are. But I'm just here to tell you what I've experienced in each of the homes that we've restored. And I've had an experience of some kind. Some of them are really intense, and some of them are more like, I see you. I see what you're doing. So I'm going to share those with you. So the first home we did, we'd been married 3 years when we bought a home built in 1933, and it was built by Cecil, that's a fun name to say, Cecil and Nina Dickerson. And it was actually just up the street from where we live now. When we sold that house, we moved a block away. And the Dickersons were a very prominent family in Conway. He was the doctor here in town. And Nina she was quite the socialite. She entertained often, extensively in the home, but she was a concert pianist, and she had actually played at Carnegie Hall. So she kind of gave up her professional career to marry the town doctor, and she was quite something in our town for many years, and lived in the home her entire life. They actually built that home on the site of a Queen Anne home that burned in 1929, and then they spent the next few years building the home that was completed in 1933. So when we moved into that house, it had been 1980s, 90s up to the hilt. It was so bad. Every single room was Pepto-Bismol pink. Every single room. The carpet, the walls, the ceilings, the linoleum in the bathroom, the Formica countertops, everything was Pepto-Bismol pink. Except for the dining room, which was tangerine orange with a blue border. And again, I wish I was exaggerating. I really wish that this was I'm stretching the truth a little bit to make it a little more interesting, but no, that's really what we bought. So we went in and immediately started doing just cosmetic restoration, but even cosmetic restoration is really noisy, right? So there was a lot of banging and moving and clanging around, and we were upstairs one day working, and I had opened up one of the windows and had put a broomstick in the window because, all the old windows work on the weight and pulley system. And this one, the weight and the pulleys had been disconnected from the window. So, if you did have something in it, it would kind of scoot its way down. It was a little bit swollen, so it wouldn't slam shut, but it wouldn't stay up. So I had put this broomstick in it. And as we're up there and we're yelling at each other, we weren't arguing, but Kevin was at one end of the house and I was at the other end of the house. And we were just talking back and forth loudly because we were sanding and some things. That broomstick flew out of that window frame slammed shut, and it was so hard that one of the panes broke. And so I was kind of the ghost doesn't like us being this loud in his house, and just kind of blew it off. So that was in what was the northwest bedroom. Hi, Boo Boo. This is one of my dogs. You can't see Boo Boo, but she's down here. She's the only one I didn't put up, so of course she's got to come be in the video. So that was the northwest bedroom of the house. And there were 4 bedrooms. It was a 4/4. And the southwest bedroom was the bedroom that was eventually going to be our master, but we had ordered furniture and it wasn't here yet. So we were sleeping in that northwest bedroom. And one morning I woke up and it was 4:44. I told this when I did the Instagram live. I told this, and I know that I was awake. I looked at the clock. It said it was 4:44. And then the way the bedrooms were set up, it was like a bedroom, Jack and Jill bathroom, bedroom. And so there was a window in that Jack and Jill bath. So the way I was turning the bed, I could see into that bathroom and I could see that window and I could see that there were cars driving by it. I remember thinking, why are there people driving at 4:44 in the morning? Where are they going? Oh my gosh, do they have jobs that they have to be somewhere this early? Oh, how awful for them. And those were just kind of like the random thoughts that I was having. And I was thinking, I've got to get back to sleep. I've got to get up and go to work in a few hours. And I turned over to face what was my husband's side of the bed and also the side of the bed that was 2 windows. There was a man standing on my husband's side of the bed. And people talk about being frozen in horror. And I thought I would never be frozen in horror. If I see something that terrifies me, I'm going to kick and scream and flail. Let me just tell you, if you wake up and there is a man standing next to your husband's side of the bed, you will be frozen in horror. I was absolutely petrified in fear. And so as I'm laying there in terror, trying to kind of reason through, do I wake Kevin up? Do I leap from the bed? Do I throw something? I realized that I could see through his shoulder and I could see the window frame behind his shoulder, which seemed odd. And so I thought, I must be dreaming. I'm totally dreaming this. So I'm going to turn over, I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to count for a little while, and then I'm going to turn back. I did that 3 times. And every time I did it, I would turn back and he was still there. He was smiling very benignly, I wish I could convey to you the emotion that was sort of being expressed in the smile. It was I felt this sense of like a great deal of love and calm. I don't know, it's indescribable. I can tell you what he looked like. I tell people all the time that he looked like Sunday school Jesus. And for those of you, again, who are either probably Baptist or Methodist and you're raised on here in the South, you know what I'm talking about. There's this painting that was done in the, I think, 50s of what I call Sunday school Jesus, where Jesus is a blonde-headed, blue-eyed Caucasian man, which is hilarious and a different story for another day, kind of like looking pensively upward toward the heavens. He looked just like Sunday school Jesus. He had wavy, sandy blonde hair, blue eyes, scruffy beard. He was wearing a black and red flannel shirt and jeans. And he was very happy with me for some reason. And eventually I turned back over and he was gone. And I was so moved by the experience that I had to tell somebody, but I didn't know who to tell. And I knew if I told Kevin, he'd laugh at me and think I was crazy. So I told my mom a few days later. She was very cool about it. But there's no way to really describe an experience like that to somebody, because I had always been one of those people that was what I call, and I said this again in the Instagram, I was kind of like paranormal curious. I didn't really believe in the paranormal, but I didn't not believe in the paranormal. I thought it was possible, but I also always thought that those people who would say that they woke up in the middle of the night and there was a ghost standing by their bed were idiots. Like, obviously you're just dreaming, so why are you telling people you've seen a ghost? Look, there was something standing next to my bed. I was full awake, and I do not make fun of those people anymore. Oh, I feel bad that I ever did. So that was my first experience in that house. Also in that house, I was not welcome in the dining room. It was okay during the day to go into the dining room for me. It was a little uncomfortable. I didn't enjoy that room. I didn't enjoy being in there. But if I had to walk through the dining room at night, it was at a dead sprint. Like the oppressive feeling of get out of this room was overwhelming in there. And I think that was because that was Mrs. Dickerson's room. That was her entertaining space. That was her space. That was not my space. And she wanted to make sure that I knew that. So those are the experiences that we had in our first home that we restored. Now, this home that I'm sitting in now, we've been here 10 years, I think. And I've only ever had one thing happen here. And of course, I say every time we buy a home that we restore, I have this feeling of, I just get a feeling. When we go up to the house, I just get this feeling of, okay, this is my house. I'm supposed to be in charge of this house. I'm supposed to be in charge of the restoration. So I tell people all the time, I always feel like I already own this house. We've just got to get through the formalities of it when we go to a house that's meant to be mine. And so I felt very much that way about this house. The first few times we came, this was my house, and we had to get through the formalities. And we did almost a year and a half long restoration. We thought it was going to be 60 days. That's hilarious. That's the most ridiculous, hilarious thing I've ever said in my life, was that this restoration was going to be 60 days. We had a timeline, and then we started opening walls and found out there was no foundation, and all the wood in the house was eaten by termites. So, it ended up being a year and a half, whatever. So we finally got done, and we finally got moved in. And I was home alone one day, and I was going up into our attic. So we have a walk-up attic. It's got a beautiful staircase that leads to an attic at this point. And I was coming out of the bedroom and going up into the attic, and I heard from the dining room, so the stairs to the attic are right here, and then there's a hallway, and then the door to the dining room is just right there. I heard the sounds of a dinner party. It was very clearly crystal clinking together, the sounds of cutlery on plates. I didn't hear voices, but all the other ambient sounds that you would hear during a dinner party, I heard. And I thought, okay, there must be something going on outside. There's kids playing outside. There's something else going on. So I went outside. I walked all around the house. There was nothing. There were no strange noises out there. Came back in. Nothing. So I've always said those were the owners of this house being happy that it was safe. Because y'all, this house was about to fall down. I can't even tell you. Like, there was no foundation underneath it. I don't know what was holding it up, except for maybe just like the termites holding hands were keeping this house from falling down at that point. And we're so fortunate. The granddaughter of the man who built this house lives still in the house behind our house. So we have a lot of history on the house, so we know who built it. So I feel like I kind of know who was hanging out with me that day and saying, "Hooray! We're having a welcome back party for this beautiful home." Then we bought the house in Fernandina Beach in Florida. And that one, again, I felt very connected to. I fell in love with it. It was my house. But I didn't think there was anything going on there at all. Like, nothing. I didn't feel any kind of presence. As a matter of fact, we had some neighbors walk up one day. We had a picket fence, and so I was out gardening around the picket fence, and our neighbors walked up, and they were like, "Oh, do you have any ghosts? This house, it's an old captain's house, so we know some people died in it, and surely you have some ghosts here." And I was like, you know what? We just really don't. And I really thought that we would. I was so excited because of all the history we have on this house, but nope, there's nothing here. No ghosts. So I went to bed that night, and I always lay my cell phone like in the very middle of my nightstand, because I'm always afraid that it'll fall off at night, or that like the cord will get hung on something and fall off, or that it'll vibrate and fall off. And at that house we had, I wish you could see what I had. We had like end tables that were our nightstand. So they were pretty big, probably 24 square, maybe even a little bit bigger, maybe 26, 28. And I had put my phone all the way in the dead center. And actually that night it wasn't plugged in. And I know it wasn't plugged in because I had been listening to a book. And so I couldn't have plugged it in because I had to plug my headphones into it. Anyway, so middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, that phone scoots to the edge of the nightstand and falls on the floor. It was kind of like the ghosts were saying, yeah, we're here. We're not like bothering you or anything. We don't want to make a big deal out of our presence, but don't tell the neighbors that we're gone. We're here. We're just going to be cool. You cool? We cool. All right, we got it. So that was the only experience I had in Florida. Now, for Louise, for the one that everybody wants to really know about. I have not personally had any experiences in Louise yet, but I have a sister. She's quite a bit younger than me. She's got a little bit of the sight. You know, some people say they're touched, but she got a little bit of the sight. She got a little bit of the whoopity-whoopity. And I have said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm salty about it because I'm the one who would want to have the sight, and I have got none of it. Like, I can't tell if anybody's hanging around, and my sister can be like, hey, Grandpa's here today. Okay. And she used to just say, I'm just crazy, y'all, I'm just crazy, I'm crazy. But she's kind of gotten where she's like, all right, I got a little bit of the sight. So we bought Louise, and we didn't tell our families. We typically don't tell our families when we buy these houses that are wrecks of houses, especially because we know they're going to freak out. So kind of keep it on the DL until we can kind of have a plan in place. So we weren't telling anybody about Louise. So we bought Louise on a Friday. And we started the Instagram account that Friday night. And my husband started it, and he stupidly invited my sister to join the Instagram account. So, of course, my sister says, excuse me, that was the text I got from her. EXCUSE, me was the text, you know, so I was like, yeah, we bought this house, yeah, we're going to redo another one, hey, please don't tell mom and dad yet. And so she didn't know anything about it. She just saw the family photo that we had posted on Instagram. She didn't know where the house was. I mean, we hadn't said anything about it yet. She didn't know where the house was. She didn't know any of the history. She's not an old home lover, so she'd never seen it on any old home accounts. She doesn't follow any of those. She doesn't know any of that stuff. So she sent me the photo, and she said, I'm getting like a weird vibe here. And she said, this man, and she circled a man in the photo. His name starts with a J, and he wants you to be careful on the stairs, and he wants you to take care of his garden. And I was like, oh, right. His name starts with a J. What is it, like Jeremiah, Jebediah, Jehoshaphat? What is it? And she texts back, it's James. James says to be careful on the stairs and to take care of his garden. Well, at this point, I didn't even know who any of the people in the photo were. We just kind of had it as part of a package that we were given by the Georgia Trust. The next day, I discovered that the man who built the house was James C. Little, and was the man that my sister had circled in the photo. Now, y'all have seen the family photo, right? It's on Instagram. There's like 3 dozen people in that photo. So, and there's 4 or 5 adult men total. Woobity woobity. She knew. So, anyway, I'm hoping once we get the house all put back together that James and Nellie will show up, and we'll be happy with what we do to the house. But those are all my spooky stories with Laine. All the weird things that have happened in all the different houses that we've renovated, and none of them that my husband believes, because he is that guy. All right, friends, see you later. Subscribe to the channel to keep getting like crazy weird videos like this. Give me a thumbs up, or that one person who keeps giving me a thumbs down. You know what? I love you anyway. I love you anyway. Bless your heart. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.